Hey there, interwebs. It's Monday, December 15th. Finland is the world's leading consumer of coffee. I'm Russ.
I'm Eric.
And this is Context Not Found. The holiday of the day is National Remembrance Day for journalists killed in the line of duty in Russia. And this day in history, in 1933, the 21st Amendment to the United States Constitution officially became effective, repealing the 18th Amendment, which prohibited the sale, manufacture, and transportation of alcohol. Yes, got that time. So, normally I like to record these on Sunday nights, because that way I don't have to worry about export speeds and I can upload on Monday morning. Although for scheduling reasons we have been known to record a few on Monday nights themselves. But, Eric, what day is today?
Today is Thursday.
Why is it Thursday? Because it's the day that comes after Wednesday. No.
That's a good enough reason for me.
Why is it Thursday that we're recording this?
Because we're both leaving for the holidays.
Yes, winter break is coming up and we have both finished our finals this morning. So we won't be here on Sunday to record. Nor will we be here next Sunday to record, or the Sunday after that. The next podcast I can promise is going to be sometime in early January, right?
Yes, I can't tell you the date off the top of my head.
Probably going to be the second Monday in January, if I had to take a guess.
Let's figure... No, I think it's like the 12th.
Yeah.
But regardless,
Yes.
early January.
We may do one somewhere in the middle of break if we can get the,
If we can get it set up properly to do it.
Yeah, because you have a thing for, Let's Plays with your friends, right?
Yeah, we can work out some recording method for how we can do that. But, anyways, what do we got today?
What was that?
What do we have today?
The intro topic...
Did you even prepare whatsoever in, like, the half hour you were leading up to this?
Yeah, I wrote some stuff down. I was expecting the scheduling discussion to last a little longer.
Guess what? We're not recording until mid-January, so...
Yes.
There
You'll have
you
to
go.
find some other podcast to fill your time by people who, get paid enough to do this.
There
This
you
is
go.
just a hobby.
Scheduling done. I don't get why it takes... It's like... I don't get why it takes, like, groups of people so darn long to just, like, pick a date for something. It's like, Jesus Christ, just... Gah!
Well, the problem is that you need someone with a really tight schedule who can be like, okay, these are the 3 times next month that work for me. Because if everyone has an open schedule, it's really hard to pick a date. The date will work for everyone, but it's hard to get there.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
Well, yeah.
hey, what time do you want to get dinner tonight? I'm not doing anything, so, in time after 4. And then it never happens.
And then you get that large group of people where, literally there's not a single time where, anyone's available at the same time outside of, like, 3 a.m.
That was a pitfall of a Dungeons & Dragons group I was in where we had, like, 8+ members, and we were meeting so infrequently that we could refer to our adventures by the year. That's not gain.
That's
Gain's
gain.
all the way up.
And yet it is rather low. Oh well. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, I can get that, and we'll get it in post. That's the phrase, right?
Yeah. Alright, so is it about time we move on from the scheduling woes?
No, we have to fill another 6 minutes of this crap. No,
You're kidding me.
no,
I'm sure the viewers aren't very happy with that either.
we can make this short. I mean, theoretically, this podcast doesn't need to happen because we could just say, yeah, we weren't here on Sunday to record, so
Yeah.
if it comes up to 45 minutes, they're not allowed to complain, right?
Yeah.
You hear that, listeners? This is a privilege. You're not entitled to this. So, nerd joke of the week. There's 2 cats sitting on a roof. Which one falls off first?
That would probably not be politically correct to say on the air.
I'm not even gonna ask. I don't even know where you're going with that.
My brain was going somewhere, but I don't think the viewers want to know where.
This is a physics joke. 2 cats sitting on a roof. Which one falls off first? The one with the smaller mew. Get it? Because coefficients of friction indicated by the Greek letter mu, which sounds like a cat's meow. Meow. Yeah, I felt the need to explain that one because that's a little off the wall.
It's a little,
or off the roof, as the case may be. Heyo.
But yeah.
So, foreign phrase of the week, it's going to be mispronounced horribly, but I'm going to do my best. It is Shoyot Legpanash Televa Angolna. If you think you know what that means, leave it in the comments. If you're even remotely understanding what language I'm trying to speak, I'll be impressed, though. Last week's phrase of the week, because everything else had to do with alcohol that week, was Dos cervezas, por favor, which is, of course, Spanish for 2 beers, please. And I'll have 2 beers as well. Let's move on to the first actual topic, after all of this fanning about that we're doing at the beginning.
Which only lasted 6 minutes.
Yeah, usually, to get a bit meta, the intro topic is supposed to fill out the first 10 minutes before we even get to the nerd joke.
But who ever picks scheduling as a 10-minute topic?
Well, I figured we would, explain what's going to happen for the next few weeks and why there might be an otherwise unexplained lull in the uploads.
Yeah. 10 seconds, timey. Guess what? We're both done finals and going home for winter break. We're not going to be here on Sundays to record. If you're lucky, we'll do something remotely over break.
I wasn't timing you.
Viewers, did I make it? I wasn't timing myself either. But there you go. 10 seconds, not 10 minutes.
Fine. There were other things we could have discussed in there, but to be honest, I don't know what my winter break plans are yet either, and it starts in a few hours.
I know what my winter break plans are. Work.
Except
for, this Friday and the weekend.
Yeah.
Those are,
and presumably Christmas.
Yeah.
And Hanukkah, right?
Sure.
For those of you who are wondering...
wait, that would be what would that be? That would be like a 14-day vacation, wouldn't it?
Hanukkah's 8 days.
Oh. Oh. Divide by 2.
Yeah. It's
plus 2.
Starts in the evening. Starts at sundown on December 16th and goes until December 24th.
I don't know why I said 14 days. It just popped into my head. I'm gonna say 14.
Passover is 8 days as well, if I remember correctly. So I like to joke the Jewish week is 8 days long, which explains why the months are all kind of out of order too.
Yes.
I mean, there are reasons. Picking up where we left off at lunch, though, you'd be computers people. You will be depressed to learn how many people you can convince the Nintendo 64 is called the N64 because it came out in 1964. It didn't. That was 5 years before the moon landing, but...
What year did it come out? 97, 98, was it? Something like that?
I have no idea. It is named the N64 because 64-bit processor.
Yes, which I was actually surprised to learn that. I always thought it was because of the fact that it actually had 64 megabytes of memory.
1996, by the way, dear viewer.
Oh, okay. So actually, that was the Japan release. What was America?
Who cares?
North America was still 96, just a little bit later. Europe and Australia, by the looks of it, were both 97. But yeah, like I said, I thought it was because of the fact that it had 64
and in
megabytes of storage,
they're still using
but
the
apparently
SNES.
not. I was surprised to know it even used a 64-bit processor. I would have thought 32, probably at most, at that time.
Well,
I don't really see what the benefit necessarily was of using a 64-bit processor in that.
well,
But I didn't read into the technicals of it enough to really, say anything definitive.
You're saying how the necessity of it may have something to do with it, because computers for emulating things need a crap ton of processing power just because you're trying to use software to do what hardware was doing on the consoles. So, there's no such thing as a perfect emulator, and I think that might have something to do with why you need a 64 instead of 32.
But yeah, in a computer, sure, but this is a console.
Exactly.
So the console's not emulating itself; it's its own hardware. So,
yeah, but it's the principle of where that's going.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what I knew about like the real difference between 32-bit and 64-bit was, and the main reason why people differentiate between the two is the amount of bits in the memory allocation address it can support. 32-bit, as far as I know, is only able to address up to 4 gigabytes worth of RAM, and if you wanted anything more than that, you needed 64-bit. But that was the main reason, why, as far as I understood, that you had the two differences.
Yeah.
But and again, like I said before, I haven't read enough into the technicals, behind it to really, say much more than that.
You're not a console snob, you're a PC master race.
Yeah. I mean, I said, yeah.
I like the old,
I don't know. There was something about old consoles, older consoles, rather.
I was writing, I've taken a break from this for a little while, but for a period I was writing my own dungeon crawl text adventure, getting back to the ultimate origins of video gaming, like Zork.
Yeah, but I mean,
get E-Flask, you cannot get E-Flask.
But
and you just have to figure out why on earth you can't get E-Flask.
But yeah, I mean, SNES, good. N64, good. GameCube, good. It's just
PS2, good.
Yeah.
Xbone.
PS3, The Xbox, man. The Xbox pretty good.
It has more to do with the policy than the hardware at this point.
But yeah, I mean,
that are the bugbears of modern console gaming.
It's become more. The latest consoles have become more corporate politics and money-making schemes than anything else lately. The console
is no longer the platform on which to play games, but rather the platform by which to extort money from the player.
I think it was Yahtzee, if I recall correctly, as to who does the zero punctuation videos.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he said it best in that when you tried to sell an old console, they said, buy this console because it allows you to play all these fun games. And it's like, what games? It's like, these games. Oh, those do look quite good.
Except for Lemmings 2.
So, I mean, that's kind of how I feel like the old consoles were. It's like, because I did have, old consoles. I had an N64, I had a GameCube, and that's how I felt. It's like, this console is nice. It's allowing me to play these fun games that I enjoy. The modern consoles, what am I getting? Sucky games and a lot of micropayments. It's like, eh. So as we've sort of transitioned into the modern age, I have sort of transitioned away from consoles into the PC realm.
The other thing about PCs is that there's modding.
Yes, and it's legal modding too.
Yeah. I like the old Doom mods, like Brutal Doom, for example.
Well, I mean,
watch a Let's Play of that; those are insane.
I mean, so okay, I don't. There is, you'll be surprised to know that when it comes to consoles and modding, it's actually in the terms of service that any kind of modding whatsoever, you tighten a screw and you're corporate lawyer banhammer comes down. It's like, They are.
I'm imagining a man in a suit with a large cartoon mallet now.
They are like that uptight as to like any modification. So it's not, and it doesn't even have to be bad modifications. Because I mean, granted,
Doesn't have to be bad modifications.
well, because there are cheating mods out there.
Yeah.
So and those are.
But if you make a cheating mod, all you're doing is screwing yourself out of a challenging game.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. But and it tends to ruin the game for other people as well, particularly when playing online.
Oh yeah, well,
like aimbot, for example.
that's different.
But that's sort of, I know that's sort of why they kind of have the, because it's easier to just say no mods whatsoever than say, okay, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is meh,
In terms of like
So
cheating
I
mods,
understand why they do it, but I still don't think it's great, because this is the thing. It's like, not every like application that because modern consoles allow you to download different apps and stuff, not necessarily games, but just different apps to your console, like Netflix, Hulu, like other things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, not every like application is or not every service or program is available for maybe the console that you want. So like for example, let's say I don't know of a specific example, but let's just say like something that you had on your Xbox 360 doesn't have an application for your Xbox One, and it's like, oh well, that's unfortunate. So you like write up a quick, you write up your own quick, API that like allows you to like access, I don't know, YouTube on your Xbox One.
API being
I forget what the actual. I forget what the actual acronym stands for, but the
abbreviation. Acronyms are pronounced as words.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
Not to be a grammar Nazi about that sort of thing, but
You're right. I was wrong.
I find that one to be more of a language is interesting point than a.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, it's not like it's a malicious program. It's nothing wrong with it. It's like, in my opinion, that's a perfectly like fine program.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, as long as your mod isn't actively cheating some other human player out of something, it's like it's like upgrades.
But
Upgrades that just make the game easier or cheat you out of gameplay, like the warp whistle from Mario, or like, what are you doing besides like sabotaging yourself, really?
But yeah, so I mean, something like that, I really don't see as being, that harmful of a mod. It's like, it's not affecting the gameplay, it's not affecting the competitiveness, it's not affecting the fairness when playing against other people. It's just something that, like, hey, I wanted to be able to watch, YouTube videos on my TV.
But that interferes with their grand scheme to make more money off of you in the long run.
Yes, and I'm sure that actually does. I'm sure that factors into it.
You're cutting into their ability to sell you things. That makes you as bad as an internet pirate.
That's an app we could have sold you for $5.
You robbed us of the opportunity to sell you something.
Yeah, so I mean, you get you get the point of where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
we discussed that before.
But yeah, so I mean, and what happens is if it catches you trying to run that unsigned code on, your Xbox, it's gonna lock you out, and it's gonna void your warranty, and like, the blah blah blah, and a whole bunch of other like stuff if you actually like read into the terms of service that you like auto sign by using the like device itself. But yeah, so yeah, it's incredibly like locked down, and yeah, I don't really like it so much. It's locked down, too much corporate greed, like not enough like good games,
Okay.
But yeah,
Speaking of good games,
not to say that there aren't good games, but like, I don't know, not enough. It's kind of
This is not to say that there were more of the old games were good, because it's the time filter again that people tend to forget the mediocre things just because they were mediocre and not worth remembering.
That's true.
Like, how many Sierra adventure games do people remember as compared to LucasArts? These are the old not text adventures, but point-and-click adventure games.
No, I got you.
Okay, because, well, for the uninitiated listener who might not be into the old school gaming,
yeah,
that I was working on writing a news story. There's a little entertaining side project where there's this task force that works sort of alongside the police, and you know how in a lot of anime such as Death Note, which started as a manga, they have like the 14-year-old boy who's like the world's greatest police investigator or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And in Western shows as well, sort of like Castle, well, less so Castle, but you get the character who's better than any police detective because they happen to be a writer or whatever. Sort of these inexplicable things that wouldn't really hold up in real life, but you just sort of accept them because that's the premise of the show and it makes things interesting.
Yeah.
Sort of as a parody of both of those put together, there's the world's greatest police detective, investigator, or whatever, is this 14-year-old boy who is the world's greatest detective because he's beaten every Sierra Adventure game. Because if you've played those, like, the logic puzzles are more puzzle than logic.
Yeah.
It's like he's beaten every Sierra Adventure game. He's the world's greatest detective.
So, yeah, that's
Clearly, I need to rub the pineapple on the panda.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm mildly surprised you're actually familiar with Death Note.
Yeah.
Do you read the manga or watch the anime?
I watched my first experience with Death Note was at a sleepover. It's 3 a.m. I'm sleep deprived, and I'm picking up Death Note somewhere in the middle of the series, so we have to keep pausing, and it's like, okay, explain this to me. Literally every 3 minutes, it's like, who's this guy? What's the motivation? But why did he do that? Oh, okay, sort of thing.
Yeah.
This is the point where Light is handcuffed to, what's his name? M? N? L?
M.
Q? S-set?
No.
That letter they
L.
have in German?
Wait. Hold on. No, it's,
Beta?
it's L.
007?
The guy he's handcuffed to is L,
And then L's replacement
L's
is F.
replacement is.
Spoilers alert, by the way.
Oh yeah, sorry, I wasn't thinking about that.
Spoiler alert: Snape kills Trinity with Rosebud.
But yeah.
299 of them die.
Anyways,
He's Luke's father.
I was just, but yeah. Anyways, I was just kind of curious how you, were like. I was curious how you knew about that because I know you aren't into like you're not really into the anime or, as far as I know, not into the manga scene either.
Well, I watched one episode of Death Note at 3 a.m., but then I started reading the manga, borrowing them from my friend, and I actually really liked those. My only complaint about that is that the ending was so anticlimactic and underwhelming for what I was expecting, because you have these two, like...
Well, I haven't completely finished the series yet.
Oh. Do you want me to stop now before I spoil it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like I've gotten through like a majority of it. I just have like 1 or 2 books left.
Are you watching Breaking Bad?
No.
Do you plan to?
I plan to.
Do you care if I spoil that?
Depends on like how much of it.
Actually, there is no spoiler in what I'm going to say.
Okay, go ahead.
In a interview between Adam Savage and Vince Gilligan, of all people, Vince said something along the lines of how he doesn't like in TV shows where smart characters are brought down only because they do something stupid that would be otherwise out of character. Which is one of the things I love about Breaking Bad is that never happens. I won't say that happens in Death Note, but it's not the cleverly set up, aha, you've walked into my trap that I've been setting up for the past 24 moves sort of thing that I was expecting it to be. It's like, oh, well, I guess that's understandable. It was like a B-plus story with a B-plus A-minus story. It's been a while since I actually read it, with like a C-plus ending.
I'm trying to...
Good, not great.
I'm trying to think what, I'm trying to think what, like, shows and things I've watched that actually, that I think are, like, some of the best, hold on, on the tip of my tongue, the word I'm trying to look for.
Written?
No, like that sort of plot weaving thing, where it's like, this is my trap that I've been setting up.
Oh, yeah, with them.
Like, some of the best, like, thought-out shows, you know what I mean?
Chekhov's Marksmanship Academy.
It's like everything's very, like, intricate, but it's not, like, overly done or forced, and it makes sense and it like plays
A lot of
into it
cases,
very
it's
well.
like, aha, that's why he was there 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, like it's very that's what I like about it. It's very intertwined like that. It's like they put thought into this. I like it.
Yeah, the first show that comes to mind on that is Breaking Bad, but I've read some stuff about behind the scenes where a lot of stuff on Breaking Bad happened sort of by accident or because for casting reasons. Like, I don't know if this is like Game of Thrones, where if you say a character is still alive at one point, if that counts as a spoiler. Game of Thrones is the only show I know where characters being alive counts as a spoiler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, every time you watch a new episode of Game of Thrones, you're just hoping your favorite character doesn't die for the next hour.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah. By the way, I'm behind on that.
Really?
Yeah.
Season 5 is coming out in the next... I honestly haven't looked it up.
Yeah, I haven't looked. I know it's coming out, and I know
I think it's coming out after the new seasons of Vikings, and Vikings hasn't come out yet, so...
But yeah,
we've got some headway.
I have some time, but I know I'm behind in that, and I need to get beginning of season 4.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm behind in that, and I need to try and catch up before season 5 comes out, so I can like stay up to date with what's going on.
As always, episode 9 is the best. Episode 9 is where they put all the budget, with the big wham episode where you have a...
yeah. It's like,
episode
this is
9,
where all the budget was.
Spoilers, by the way. Episode 9, Season 1, Ned gets his head cut off. Episode 9, Season 2, Battle of the Blackwater. Episode 9, Season 3, Red Wedding.
I never noticed that before.
Yeah, episode 9's the big wham episode of the season, and episode 10 sort of the, okay, let's resolve what we left open on episode 9 because we ran out of time and set up the next season.
Yes. But yeah, I never made that connection of 9 always being that big wham episode.
And that's why I keep thinking that the Mountain versus the Viper occurs in episode 9 of season 4 when it's in episode 8, just because that is a fucking bombshell.
But yeah.
Getting back to Death Note.
Oh, we're going back to that now.
Actually, jumping forward from Death Note, back from Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad.
You mean back to Death Note, jumping back to Death Note and forward from it in another direction away from Game of Thrones.
Moving tangentially in some direction related to, but not necessarily originating from Death Note. In Breaking Bad, a character was supposed to die at the end of season 1, and then they just kept him on for the entire time because they liked hanging out with the actor, and he's one of the people that survives the whole show. I don't think I've ruined anything by saying that.
No.
And similarly, one of the villains who was supposed to be around a lot longer had to get killed off early for scheduling reasons.
That's always great. It's like, oops, author, kill your character because, casting problems. I'm
reminded of the line from Futurama, something about African hydraulic fever, that's so often fatal. My character caught it in season 3 when I was holding out for more money.
Yes. Yeah.
You have anything else to add on this?
Not on this topic.
Okay, so let's do the news then.
Okay.
So, the Washington Nationals have in sports, the Washington Nationals have set their sights on a new hopeful. So far, he has 6 hits, 5 RBIs, 4 hit by pitch, 3 doubles, 2 home runs, and a partridge in a pear tree. Weather. We expect light rain until nightfall, when, according to our reporter in the field, it will become dark rainfall. This week in science is going to be slightly more difficult to do because we're recording this on Thursday. It's been it's been 3 days since we recorded This Week in Science, so once again we're just going to read the front page of iflscience.com. Would you like to start?
Sure. California's drought is likely the worst in 1,200. Thank you. I was going to say 1,200, but I had that moment where I thought to myself...
Well, there's a comma in there.
Well, yeah, I was going to say 1,200, but then I was like, wait a second, is it really proper to say 1,200? Not really. Kind of.
We'll get back to that in a moment.
But yeah. Hence the momentary pause where I'm thinking that over in my head.
A lunar dynamo may have generated the moon's ancient magnetic field, of which I was not aware of its existence.
I didn't even know it had a magnetic field.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if it's still around because it says ancient magnetic field.
Does it have a core, judging by that picture?
Well, presumably the moon has a core of something.
Well,
I'll post all of these links in the description for people who want to look it up.
Based on the description or the image, it looks as though it has like a molten core of some kind, but obviously that's an image, or rather an artist's representation, which isn't always the most accurate.
Yeah. I mean, just look at Renaissance paintings. Those are fun.
Anyways, 3D cancer vaccine recruits infection-fighting cells. Interesting.
Yeah.
What do they mean? I'm curious what they mean by 3D cancer.
Researchers have designed a programmable biomaterial that assembles itself into an infection-fighting structure once injected into the body. The findings, published in Nature Biotechnology this week, could lead to a non-surgical way to evoke natural defenses against cancers and viruses that have previously skirted immune detection. For more information, see description. No, the CDC did not apologize and say the flu vaccine doesn't work. Apparently this was a thing. Did you hear about this?
No.
Oh. Good.
Yeah. I mean, when you think, you have to understand a little bit about the flu virus itself. Every year we have...
It mutates.
It mutates on a yearly basis, so every year we have to come up with a new vaccine. So when they say to get your, yearly flu vaccine, it's not because you're getting the same vaccine over and over. No, it's a different vaccine every year. It might have, the same roots with a few slight modifications, but, it's different each year to accommodate the different strains and mutations.
Because if we kill off all of one strain, there are going to be those that have mutated and will survive, and sort of an unnatural selection, if you will.
Yeah. Saying
for those of you who would refute evolution, there's a reason you have to get a new flu shot every year, and if you don't, please continue.
So
the world will be better off without you. Heyo.
It's okay. So unfortunately, our prediction as to what is going to be the major strain of the, dozens of strains that are out there was wrong. So unfortunately, this vaccine doesn't protect you against, this year's most common version. Sorry, but
it does protect you against coffee, sneezy death.
Yes, but anyway,
of some form.
Really, I think this is an interesting kind of topic. I feel like some internet hatred. I wouldn't necessarily. Yeah, I feel like some internet hatred. I use that headline as an example of internet hatred, where it's just someone noticed this something and they didn't really know anything technical about what's behind it that would explain it, so they just sort of what's the term I'm looking for? I feel as though there's a term for it.
Inferred?
No. So yeah, some person who wasn't very educated on the topic or really didn't understand much and just heard this statement made somewhere was just sort of oh, okay, let's spread this because suddenly I'm an expert because I heard this one topic. But you know,
saw a great T-shirt online.
It's says, it's like every news article that you hear from a news agency.
Belief is no substitute for evidence.
And
the final, on a lighter note. The final article on the front page is two-headed salamander born in Israel. And,
interesting.
Yeah, I clicked on this one because I was interested in researching that beforehand, because I was wondering, is this a case where you have twins that have fused together, or a single organism with a mutated genome that causes it to have two heads? And when I looked at the article, the answer was, we're not sure. It would appear... Actually, that's not entirely true. It is one creature with two heads as opposed to two creatures that fuse together. However, they're not sure what caused this.
But yeah.
Scientists looked at each other, shrugged their shoulders, and said, oh. Because, these things happen.
But anyways. Oh. So anyways, now that I...
And the top banner story that I sort of skimmed over at the beginning... Smart artificial skin could give prosthetic limbs feeling.
Now I'm actually kind of interested.
One more reason to blow your hand off, right?
Yeah. Now once they get to the point where like bionic limbs are becoming stronger than like normal human limbs, then it becomes time to blow your hand off.
They already are. You just have to override certain safety features. I always wondered, the $6 Million Man has a robotic arm, but his spine is still human. So, like, whenever he picks up a really heavy object, he should just herniate his entire spine where his shoulder joins into his back. Just because you're super strong doesn't mean it cancels physics.
But yeah, just walk around with a like massive back brace.
But like you could, trying to think of like a really dense object off the top of my head, you could just pick up a brick and crush that in your hand because the force you're resisting against is provided by the robot as well.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
I love me some prosthetics.
But yeah, so anyways,
so the real question is, robot eyes. Do you upgrade to the realistic looking ones, or just go with Batos?
I don't know.
Speaking of Ghost in the Shell, which we weren't, but now we are.
I am kind of curious. What was the benefit of Bato's eyes over the conventional eyes?
He's a sentimentalist.
Yeah.
I think that was the reason he just didn't feel like upgrading.
Yeah, okay. Well, but anyways,
you work for me now. Sorry, that was unrelated to Bato's eyes.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm just thinking if there's an option between like the cyborg looking eyes, like we'll take Bato's for example, versus a realistic cyborg replacement. If there's no real difference, I guess it just purely comes down to like preference.
And how many people do you want to freak out on the subway?
Yes. I feel like
if I get the realistic looking ones, people won't give me weird looks. But if I stay with the older model, people won't try to sit next to me on the subway, and I'll have the whole bench to myself.
Older model.
Thank you.
But yeah.
Saw something on the internet. It's like evil life hacks, and one of them is if you don't want anyone sitting next to you on the subway, wear a ski mask. Like, that feels like it's a good way to get in trouble for other things, though.
Yeah. Is there any like technical like rule or law against wearing a ski mask?
No, but you could probably get stopped by security, and then it moves into inciting a panic.
Yeah. Well, it's cold out. I mean.
Yeah, and it is actively snowing outside our window right now, so in this weather you could at least explain it, but I think the original evil life hack said something like wear a face mask for hockey like Jason, but...
But, yes, I mean, it's not that... It's like, there's a perfectly logical explanation for it. The only reason people are panicking is because,
I'm just wringing my hands and laughing maliciously while I do it.
No, not even that. It's just, people are... This is... Oh my god, this goes back to, like... This goes back to my previous like statement about like the sensationalist like news articles that like get people wild up because it sounds bad, but when you actually like understand like the reasons behind it, or you understand like the technicals of like what's going on, like man, not even on a deep level, like you take 5 minutes, read a couple paragraph like article that explains it a little bit, and it's like, oh, never mind, that's really not as bad as it sounds. Like Ebola, cough, cough. But anyways,
cough, cough. He's got Ebola.
Oh god!
I shared a microphone with this guy.
Jesus Christ! Oh my god!
Oh, so
I will give you that was good. I will give you that one. But no, anyways,
in our final,
it goes back. Well, before we go on,
but hang on.
Alright, fine, go ahead.
In the electronics final today, it was just Brandon, Shannon, and I were taking it at the proper time.
Yeah.
And as Shannon and I finished at the same time as we were leaving, she mentioned how she needed to talk to a professor about a previous final because she had, I think it was strep.
Okay.
Or something like that, and she said, but I'm on antibiotics now, so I can't transmit it by airborne anymore. I'm like, oh, thanks for telling me that after the test. Thanks for not infecting me while sitting next to me.
Yeah. But,
I will refrain from drinking your orange juice, though.
Yes. But yeah. I mean, I don't know. Strep's not really a big thing to worry about anymore. Really. I mean,
I don't know if
sure,
it was strep.
it's a.
It was an ENT thing. That's all I can remember.
Yeah, I mean,
to be honest.
Sure, it's a bitch if you get it, but
Chocolate.
You're not
I
gonna
always
die from
hated
it.
it.
But yeah, but yeah.
I don't think I had strep freshman year, but I had something that had me talking like the old woman from SpongeBob.
But yeah, I feel like people are too like germophobic nowadays.
You're just like seeing how close you can get me to the Purell line without crossing over it, aren't you?
No, I did not actually want you to get into that. I didn't actually.
Okay.
But yeah. But yeah.
I'm so glad everyone's just given up on Ebola, because I think we've all come to our senses and realized, oh, no one... Thousands of people didn't die of Ebola last week. I guess we should just stop talking about it now.
Guess what? That nurse that came back from Africa and, like, showed no symptoms and tested negative for Ebola twice.
Guess what? She doesn't have Ebola.
Lived for 3... Yeah. Guess what? Turns out she didn't have Ebola. And guess what? No one got sick. It's like, irrational fear and panic. It's like, Jesus Christ, people, get a grip. But anyways, I felt so bad. I felt so bad for that lady.
Oh, yeah. Although, she is now Times Person of the Year, did you hear?
What?
Really? Yeah, Times released their People of the Year, and
for standing
it's the
up
Ebola
and
workers.
Saying, for standing up and saying, like, no, I'm going to go outside and, like, enjoy my bike ride.
Nah.
But yeah, I was glad she did that.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it was complete... I was
now,
like,
if I were her, I'd be tempted to, like, cough on protesters as I rode by.
But, yeah, no, I wouldn't go that
far. Well, no,
far,
you be nice to people, but anyone saying that you should go back to Africa, cough on them.
Oh, yeah. That would be...
You're coming with me now.
That would be completely uncalled for. But anyways, yeah, no, it's like, and that freaking, and I think it was like the governor who like tried to like get a court to like impose like a man to, because normally they originally they couldn't enforce the quarantine on her, so like the governor went to the court to try and get them to pass like a mandatory quarantine, and then I'm so glad that the court...
Do you have any evidence for this claim?
I am so glad... Yes, that's what they did. I'm so glad
that
the
court that's how these things should work.
Yeah, I'm so glad that the court shot him down and said, look, there's no, like, scientific evidence, to support your claim. We are not going to enforce this quarantine. But, yeah, I mean, if she wanted to undergo a voluntary quarantine, that would be fine, but we cannot enforce one on her.
Voluntary quarantine? Is it too late to infect myself with something so I don't have to deal with people for the rest of the holiday season?
I feel like that's going just a little too far to like avoid your in-laws.
Oh, it's not the in-laws, it's the everyone else. Don't get me wrong, as much as it sounds like a Christmas special, I enjoy hanging out with my family during Christmas. That's fun. It's everything else about the Christmas season that I hate. Although it is December, so I can listen to Christmas music without feeling terrible.
Yes.
Although I don't plan on spending too much time at Tree Lot, because I'm trying to avoid B101.
But yeah.
The all Christmas music, all December station.
And, like, into November.
Yeah.
It's like, I swear, they're playing Christmas music before Thanksgiving. It's like, Jesus Christ, no.
Don't make me throw a brick through your window with a note tied to it that says it's January 2nd.
Yeah.
I'll throw a brick through your window with a calendar tied to it.
Yeah. Now, I'll ask you this, since, we are coming up on the Christmas season, and we might not be doing another podcast between now and then. But
if we do a holiday thing, it's going to be a retrospective.
Yeah, it would be. But, yeah, so I'll ask you. Well
retrospective holiday podcast.
Now this is an interesting...
We're into navel gazing here.
Now this is an interesting question for me to ask, because you're not like really an active... You're a mix of Jewish and what was the other one?
Shrugs.
I
mean, I celebrate the Jewish holidays, most of them, some of them.
And you sort of celebrate Christmas too.
I celebrate Christmas. I celebrate them both from cultural points of view.
Okay. But you don't really actively practice one religiously too much.
I don't practice any religion.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, but anyways, so I'll ask you this: what since I don't actively celebrate Hanukkah, I can't really comment on it too much. So I'll ask this question: what's your favorite part of the Christmas season, or Christmas in general?
Um, so every year my father and I travel up to my father's side of the family up in Massachusetts, and your PC just went to BSOD, didn't it?
Yes, it did. I'll be back. Keep going.
Yeah, it's getting to spend time with distant family, distant geographically, not distant by relation.
No, I got you.
It's aunts, uncles, grandparents, and then after Christmas we swing down. We swing down from Massachusetts into Pennsylvania via New Jersey to visit the cousins and the other half of the family. So, scheduling my holidays is always slightly more difficult than.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. So
what's your thing about Christmas that you would look forward to?
yeah. Well, side note, my computer just BSOD'd, and I was needed to shut it down anyways, like because I need to pack it up soon to like take it home for the 1 month break.
I don't know what I'd do without a computer for a month.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm like, well, I guess this is a good enough time as any to shut it down. But anyway, so yeah, back to the other topic. Side rant over. My favorite times, like, I particularly like the decorations, and particularly the lighting decorations. That's by far.
Are you one of those people that goes way overboard and like does the Christmas light show on the front yard?
No, I'm
front
not.
Lard.
No, I'm not there yet.
There's
No, I would love.
You didn't go to my high school. On the main road outside my high school. There's a family household known just collectively as the Christmas house. Their lawn. You can't even see it under the Christmas decoration. Our school newspaper had an interview with them one year, and you'd be impressed how low they actually get the electricity bill for that, because they're using all LEDs at this point, because they've been slowly phasing it out.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still through the roof, but it's like, yeah, it's not
nearly as bad as it would have been.
It's not actively sticking a vice in the ozone hole and just cranking it open.
Yeah, I no longer have to get the like upsized industrial feed to my house from the utility company.
You don't have to put in thicker wire.
Yeah. Which some people do.
Up at my grandmother's house.
Some people have dedicated services for service drops at their house for their Christmas lights.
You might have a problem, sir. My grandmother's house. She loves Christmas, and she has so many Christmas decorations that we can't put them all up at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what did we put up last year? Let's put up something different this year. And she'll start. Well, not her, because she's getting old, but she'll have her decorations up starting, I'm guessing, somewhere in late November, and we'll still be putting them up on December 25th. Nice. Just continuously putting up decorations like, oh, I found some Santas in the attic, let's put them around the house, or let's put some lights off the back porch.
Oh, yeah.
You want to help me hang this wreath off the door?
Yeah. Now, I feel like I have to specify, when I say I like doing, like, lots of Christmas decorations, you know, particularly lights, like I said, I don't like tacky. It has to, like, look nice, because
yes.
Sometimes, like, for example, the people who do, like, the over the top lighting, it's kind of tacky. Because there's no real flow to it. It looks like they just took every possible decoration they could find and threw it out there. So
it's a difficult line between tacky and cute.
Yeah. So, like I said, there are some people who do it well, and it looks cool and it's nice. But again, there are some people who just kind of I feel just put lights out there for the sake of putting lights out there. Now, I don't like that necessarily. I like it when it looks nice, too.
I like the icicle lights off the gutter.
I
think those are my favorite decoration.
We have.
They're subtle, but they're nice.
Yeah, we have.
And they help you find the driveway in the blizzard.
Yeah, we have those, but we haven't actually put them up in the past couple of years. just because they're actually a bit of a pain to put up, particularly on a 2-story house.
Get off the ladder, move it over 3 feet, crawl back up.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's like because you don't want to be reaching too far when you're.
I think the trick to that is getting a climbing harness and some rope around the chimney.
Yeah.
That's how I clean the gutters, by the way, at my house.
Except for when the other end of the house is like 50, 60 feet away from the chimney, and
got a long climbing rope,
and the ground is like 30 feet off the. The roof is 30 feet off the ground, and I have a 60-foot rope to get to the other end of the roof. It's like, well, I guess if I fall, I'm screwed anyway. So
that's But yeah. I have cleaned up the gutters before by tying a rope around the chimney and getting my climbing harness and sort of. Because if you think about it, there's nothing keeping the ladder from falling over unless you have someone at the bottom holding it. If I fall off the roof in a climbing harness and I'm tied in, I'll swing, but I'm not going to hit the ground unless I back out far enough that the rope is longer than the distance from chimney to ground. Which did get to be a problem at the end of the roof, so I was thinking, when I have my own house, I'm going to need to put anchor points in the roof.
Yeah.
Like some climbing rated hardware.
Yeah. And depending on how close you are to the chimney, you'll get a bit of a jerk. The farther out, you'll get more swing than jerk. When you...
Oh, yeah, with fall factors.
Yeah, with fall factor, but...
Dear listener, a fall factor is the distance you fall divided by the length of the rope. Yes. So the highest fall factor you can have is 2, and that's horrible for your spine.
Yes. AKA, you won't have a spine. But anyways...
I've actually designed a device called a Boing Boing that's basically a tension spring that with locking beaners on the end and a loop of webbing running up the middle for redundancy that... Because I have fallen wearing lobster claws, and the Zorber basically doesn't deploy for anything less than a truck falling on it.
Well, I was going to say, you realize that, they have actual fall arresting shock absorbers that are actually meant for, fall arrests with, static rope, and it's actually, I forget what type of material they are, but it's like a bungee material that actually it's in a case
instead of just using the dynamic rope.
But yeah, so I mean, obviously it's meant.
It's a case that goes between you and the lobster claws.
But yeah, it's meant for it's meant more for industrial fall protection.
People who work on wires have the same equipment as people who work on a course.
But yeah, I mean
usually.
But yeah,
it's similar.
But the idea is that you have. It's a case that folds up to be 6 inches long, so it only adds so much to your rope.
Mm-hmm.
But when it expands out, you get about
When it expands, do you have to repack it?
I think I'm not sure. No, it depends. I'm not sure if you can repack it necessarily.
The idea behind the Boing Boing is that it's basically just a very short bungee.
Yours more just
so that way, if you do fall off the platform, rather than having static lobster claws catch you, which is a shock to the spine, it's got some spring to it.
But yeah,
that's the idea.
So I mean, yours is more meant to be in everyday casual fall.
Once you hold your own weight back up, it just retracts and it's okay, carry on.
But yeah, this one's obviously meant for someone in an industrial setting is falling and they're falling and you need to arrest the fall quickly, but you don't want to shock load the person. So you have that in there, so it absorbs a chunk of the fall energy, so it takes it out of the person's fall, and it doesn't load it completely on the person. But yeah, like I said, it's
You're talking about absorbing energy.
But yeah, well that's the idea behind, because what it is it's a bungee, and obviously it has a a webbing line, so you can't overextend the bungee.
Yeah.
But the idea is it's supposed to
snap.
Well, yeah, so it doesn't snap. But again, the idea is it takes part of the fall energy out of the, it absorbs a chunk of the energy, so it's not all loaded on the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not using the proper terminology, but
I understand.
You get the concept that I'm conveying.
What I like about these, you say absorbing energy. It's important to note that you can't destroy energy. This is This is something we know. All you can do
In
is transfer its form, like
Well, in
a
this-
gree or a belay device. When you're lowering someone, it converts the energy that they would have from an unarrested fall
into friction,
partially,
which
turns into heat energy.
But yes.
Which is why gree are always really hot after you belay a heavy person.
Yes. I warm my hands after every belay. I get to warm my hands.
You ever do that in the cold weather? It's really nice, like low.
Yes.
But with elastic bands, they also convert the mechanical energy into heat energy, which is something I learned from the slingshot channel. So when you're firing a slingshot, pull back and then release immediately, because if you pull back, eventually the bands will reach ambient temperature and they will have lost some of the heat energy, and it won't be as springy. What are you looking up now? The fall arrest system?
Well, now when I just Google fall arrest system, I get a lot of OSHA stuff, but that's to be expected.
Yes. That one image though reminds me of the metal bending police force cable things.
Mm-hmm.
You think those take any inspiration from the 3D maneuver gear from Attack on Titan?
I don't know. Maybe. But
been coming close to talking about anime this entire time and never really
did it, but yeah.
We'll save that for a different time because we're coming up on the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, go back to the thing. I need to...
But, oh, wow.
Just... shoot.
Fine.
What are we at? Okay.
We're coming up on 4 minutes left. On our hour, that is.
Yes.
Not to say that we can't necessarily go over, but we're coming up on the hour, though.
So, again, final 5 minutes is where we'd do a Q&A session, if we had any. If you have any A's for us to Q, any Q's for us to A, feel free to leave them in the comments. We will probably answer them. It's not like we have a high volume of material that we need to filter through for good ones. Guess all that's left to do now is credits. Show is written by myself, hosted by myself and my roommate. This week's Fast Fact is brought to you by CaffeineInformer.com. The Holiday of the Day and This Day in History brought to you by Wikipedia. The Nerd Joke of the Week is brought to you by Numberphile, and the Foreign Phrase of the Week is provided by Omniglot.com. This Week in Science provided by IFLScience.com. Keep wanting to call it IFLS.com. IFLScience.com. And our personal shopper is Lowest Price Finder. Thanks, and have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.